Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
Well, hey, are you listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon, and we connected over a mutual love of, dare I say it, Me Without You. But we also have pretty different tastes about things, and so we get to experience new stuff from each other while inviting some friends along for the ride. Brandon, you brought a friend along with you today. Who we got?
Jordan.
Jordan is back.
Woohoo!
It's an exciting day. I was telling Jordan earlier, she told me she wouldn't out me, but I'm just going to out myself on the podcast, that I feel like our episodes are so much better when we have a third person in the room.
I was like, what am I outing about? What? Yeah, it's true. You did say that literally 15 minutes ago as we were setting up.
Yep. So we're really grateful that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm grateful to be here. It's
Awesome.
always fun.
It is a good time, for sure. So today we are covering a record by the band Me Without You. And it's called 10 Stories. And so we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we get too deep into that, let's check the mail.
Check the mail. Check the mail. Who, what, when, how, why? Check the mail.
All right. Our mail today comes from a friend of the show, Chris Mims. So he brings a question to us, and here it is. You guys ready? Mm-hmm. The question is Brandon going to come to Switchfoot with us, or is it his anniversary? And then he said, sorry, that's more than a legit reason to miss. So
I like Switchfoot.
right.
We could celebrate our anniversary at Switchfoot, Brandon.
You know what's funny is last night I was thinking like, I want to buy some Switchfoot merch. Man, I started thinking about a scenario where I was like, man, I wish I could just go to a show and buy like merch and not have to stay for the show.
Like you just want to buy the merch and not have to pay for the ticket to see them.
Yeah, he'd be willing to pay for the
the
ticket. He just doesn't want to actually have to sit through the concert.
General admission is $107.
Well,
I don't think that's right.
Where's the show happening?
Is it at the Charleston Music Hall?
That says, that's for 2 tickets. Or no, it says $107 each.
I don't know about that.
Well, Chris, I think we might have to rethink. Unless you're buying our tickets, Chris, hey, happy anniversary to us. Would you like to gift us tickets?
You know what's funny, Chris?
Did you go to StubHub for that?
Eventbrite.
Okay.
You know, it's funny that he wants to throw around little things like that. Funny enough, September, that is my mom's birthday. So if you think that I'm out of excuses.
Okay.
General admission, $98 each.
Okay. If you go to a real website like Ticketmaster, they're $59 a piece. So for general admission. So stop buying your tickets from rando websites.
I don't know.
There's a resale. That's somebody's like bought tickets and selling them for more money again. So
Maybe they're better seats.
it's general admission.
There are no better seats with general admission.
There are box seats that you can spend money on if you want to sit up, but no, most of the seats are.
Maybe the tickets I'm looking at are for tickets for on their bus.
Behind the scenes tour. Look at the bus.
Yeah.
But yeah, September 22nd. So I'm definitely planning on being there. Anne Boleyn's playing that show too.
Ooh, I like Amberlin.
So I haven't spent much time in my life listening to Amberlin, but I'm down to watch him.
What's a good album to start with, Amberlin?
You're asking the wrong guy.
You're asking the wrong person because I listen to songs. I don't listen to albums. but I like all of their stuff.
I definitely should listen to them a lot more leading into this, though. So
I don't know. Maybe if someone could if someone out there could show me the merch lineup for Switchfoot, I'll make my deciding factor.
you could just go and enjoy the music, and then we can catch the John Foreman solo show after.
That's true. We can interview John Foreman
Yeah.
beforehand.
What if John Foreman, are you listening? That's a tie into the title of the podcast. But
That was
hey,
really clever.
John Foreman, why don't you come on to Hey, Are You Listening for an exclusive interview?
I haven't watched or seen them like do a headline tour in probably since like 2011 or maybe 2011, 2012. And when they came
Yeah.
to Charleston, we went and saw them. So ever since then, I've just seen like either co-headlining or like opening.
Which one? What show was that? Who played with them?
I don't know who the opener was because I want to say it was all I remember is just Switchfoot playing, but that's one where Need to Breathe joined them on stage and they sung Won't Back Down by Tom Petty.
Was that at the Music Farm?
Yeah, it would have been Music Farm.
I think I saw that show.
Might have been 2010 now that I think about it.
I think I went to that show, and I think that it was Copeland and Isley that were the opening artists for that, which two bands that I love. So
Yeah.
it was a great show. But
I
Yeah.
was not at that show.
that's okay. That's all right. Brandon and I were in a lot of rooms together and didn't know each other.
Me and Brandon were in a lot of rooms together and didn't know each other.
Yeah. That's kind of Chris's joke question. So I have a legit one from
Oh,
him.
okay. We spent a lot of time on that nonsense joke. All right, Chris.
But anyways, guys, if you want to come join us at the Switchfoot show, come on. We'll hang out. It'll be fun. Here's his real question for us. What is the first album that you ever bought? Or what's the first album that you ever bought with your own money?
I know for me, it was a Hillary Duff album. I can't remember which one it was, but I can. It's the one where it's blue, and I need to look it up. But I know it was Hillary Duff.
I distinctly remember. I don't. Yeah. Sorry.
Was that also your first album you bought? Was a Hillary Duff album?
I distinctly remember the first cassette I ever bought and the first CD that I ever bought. So, while Jordan looks that up, the first cassette that I ever bought was "New Thing" by DC Talk. Yeah, I think that's true.
I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
Metamorphosis.
Gotcha. Awesome.
See, blue cover.
Blue cover,
And I was like, oh, her hair is blowing in the wind. Blue cover.
just as it should be. Yeah, "New Thing" by DC Talk, which was a wild ride of a record, but classic. And then my first CD that I ever bought was also a hip hop CD, and it was the album was called, I think, "Room to Breathe" by the Dynamic Twins. It's a great record, actually. So maybe we'll have to cover it on the podcast one day. But
I think the first one I remember, so I think like the Toby Mac one is the first. I think it's the first time like I remember just like using like my money or just feeling like, oh, I bought this. But I think that I want to say maybe the first one was there was a album they put out back in like 2003, 2004, where they got these professional wrestlers to record their own music. Like they wrote it and like they played instruments and like they sang on it. And I remember, I want to say that one was like maybe the first one I used like my own money. Because there was a few, but I'm like, I know, oh, my mom bought that or that was a birthday present.
who's on that record?
I mean, you've got like, it's wrestlers like John Cena. He rapped on there. I'm trying to think of some of the other
Who's
people.
the guy with the woo woo woo?
No, he wasn't on there.
Oh,
The guy, Kurt Angle, wrestler, was on there. I'm going on a blank because I keep on wanting to say, oh, this person was on there, but it was like 18 tracks.
Yeah.
So it was cool because some of them you could tell was kind of like, oh, this person's not that good. But some of them had like music backgrounds like on there. Like a couple of the guys, I remember they talked about learning piano as kids. And at the time, I was like being forced to learn piano. And I remember thinking, oh, I didn't know that cool people played piano. I thought, and so I distinctly remember being like, man, that guy, like, he knows piano, but he also like puts people through tables every night. Like, I want to learn piano even more now.
you know, the joke with wrestlers is they're just muscular musical theater kids.
That checks out. That's smart. I love it. Cool. Yeah, I think that our my wrestling days were a little earlier than that. So, but man, if we could have had a record done by like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant,
Here, brother.
it would have been so good. I would be here for that. So awesome. Let's talk about what we've been listening to lately. What have you guys been listening to?
Well, one of the last podcasts we talked about that Root Beer released a single.
Right.
And now they've released the entire EP. The
Oh my
Beach
goodness.
Towel EP. So, I mean, it's not... if you're looking for, like, in-depth stuff or, like, stuff that they did in LA Symphony, like, you're not going to find it here. It's just, like, I think it's 6 tracks, and it clocks in at under 15 minutes. So it's just, like, fun. Like, one's talking about them being dads and still trying to be cool, and then one's just like being at like the beach and that kind of stuff. So I mean, like, there's nothing that's like super in depth with it, but I think it's just really fun, and I've been enjoying listening to that EP.
Nice. Root Beer.
What I have been listening to is another social media artist, because that's where I found her. I'm going to mess up her name, and I practiced before we recorded. Allison Eide? It's spelled E-I-D-E. Don't know how to say it, but
She's probably listening right now.
she might be. She's small enough still to listen to this kind of stuff, but she's getting big.
Yeah.
So you got to keep your eyes open for her. She has released a lot of like catchy songs, and it's like kind of like taboo topics in like the Christian music world, and how like, oh, you're not supposed to sing about that, but she sings about it because she's like, no, we need to. So she's a pretty cool girl.
What's the like music genre?
I would say pop, but like a little bit more of like a darker pop. Like it's got like some, like, I don't know, heaviness to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check it out to get a sense of it. I don't know. That's awesome. For me, I've been listening to the brand new EP of the namesake of our podcast. Starflyer 59 put out a new EP called the Disappointed EP. And so I've been spending time hanging out with that one, and it's good. It's different. Have you guys listened to it yet?
So I've listened to like maybe like a track and maybe like a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But I heard that like some people were saying like, yeah, I didn't care for this. But other people were like, no, it's different. We should celebrate, kind of.
It's all really like upbeat, which is not
I might actually like this one.
not Starflyer.
That's why
Like,
I don't really like
vibe?
Starflyer.
I heard a lot of people, because obviously, like Charles Martin, Jason Martin's son, has played drums on the last several like Starflyer things, and so he's playing drums on this. I heard somebody say that it's like the Rocky Valentines with Jason Martin on lead vocals. That's how they compared it. Just it's a little more fun, a little more kind of crazy.
Okay.
So yeah, I dig it, and I think that the song topics the lyrics are interesting too. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. Picked it up on vinyl, but it is out on streaming now too. And so yeah, I've been digging that one. It's been fun.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, let's play a game.
Let's play, let's play. It's time to play a game. Let's play, let's play. It's time to play a game.
All right, so we are going to play a game today. And because we're covering 10 Stories by Me Without You, which is a concept album, we're going to play a game of concept album or not. And so I'm going to give you albums that have been released by Christian artists. And you guys tell me whether you think it's a concept album or not a concept
I
album.
have a feeling I'm not going to pass this game.
So Jordan answers before Brandon on all questions, so she's not influenced. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to make a lot of people angry. Like, they're going to be yelling, like, how could you not know that?
I think it'll be all right. All right, I'm going to start with an easy one, okay? So an easy one, the album is called 10 Stories by the band Me Without You. Concept album or not?
Who's the band?
This is a tough one. Yes, I know this one.
Yes, this is a concept album. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. All right, next one. Band is House of Heroes. Album is Colors.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
I know that one of their albums is a concept album.
One would argue all but one is a concept album.
Oh.
And I think that's Tim. No.
But again, I honestly don't know the different. Like, if you were to play me 3 different songs of House of Heroes and say, what albums do these belong to? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. They're House of Heroes songs. They're one collection.
Tim Skipper would hate that answer.
I know he would.
I was thinking the other day, I feel like we talked a lot about Tim, but I feel like people, I don't know if we gave enough credit to the other members of the band. So I just wanted, for anyone who's still stick around for that, like, House of Heroes it's not just Tim and the heroes. It's
Tim and the
It's
Heroes.
the heroes, including Tim.
Let's do another House of Heroes just to make things edgy. Is the End Is Not the End a concept album?
I think so.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's that one's a little edgy because I do think that there is a concept, but then I also think that there's some random songs that have nothing to do with the concepts on the album as well. So
Such is life.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's see. All right, the OC Supertones Strike Back.
I am going to say yes.
I think it's Walking in a Trap because I think that you might have said at one point that, like, oh, everyone knows it's a concept album, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah, it's not a concept album.
I think I only know maybe one song by OC Supertones, so
They're fun.
yeah, I like them okay, but they're just not my first choice.
All right. The Juliana Theory. I don't know if y'all even know anything about the Juliana Theory.
Love them.
Emotion
They're the
is
best.
Emotion is Dead.
With a title like that, I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say no just to be different.
Yeah, this is another one of those that kind of it's on the line a little bit, but I think generally it's not really a concept record. So
Really, any record could be a concept record because, you know,
there are
you
usually
listen-
some cohesive themes.
Yeah.
But
You listen to it like that, which I don't.
all right, Showbread. Cancer.
Brandon knows the answer because
I
he
do.
looked directly at me. I'm going to go wild. I want to say no because I've said yes to everything, but I feel like I should say yes. I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes too.
Yes, it is. Good job. Good job. Me Without You. Brother, sister.
Yes, isn't it? I don't know.
I'm gonna go no.
Yes, it's no.
Oh.
Reliant K. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm just gonna answer yes to all of these.
I'm gonna say no.
It's no. It's no. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this band, the Oh Hellos.
I'm aware of them.
Yeah,
So they have a record called Dear Wormwood.
I feel like that is one based on that title.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah too.
Yes, it is. It's inspired by the Screwtape Letters. So, let's see here. We'll do Starflyer 59. Silver.
I am gonna say yes. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
I'm gonna say no.
The answer is no. All right, we'll do one more.
Told you I would make a lot of people start yelling at their whatever they're listening to.
Let's do a couple more. All right, Project 86. Anybody know this band?
Love them.
They've done a lot of different records. Recently, have put out a series of albums called Omni. So we'll go with Omni Part 1 by Project 86.
Yes.
I'm gonna go yeah too.
Yeah, I think it
The
is.
fact that you said series, it has to be.
Maybe. Could just be a random collection. All right, one more. One of my favorite bands, one of my favorite records. The band is May. Album is The Everglow.
Yes.
I'm gonna go yes too.
Yes. Yes. They even give you like a picture book to go through as you're going through it. So it's great. All right. You guys did pretty well.
I answered yes to everything.
It's like when you're taking the test and you mark C
Yep.
to every question that you don't know the answer to. Your odds you're there. So got about half of them
Hey,
right.
I had a 50-50 chance.
And it worked out about that way. Good
Yep.
job. That's awesome. All right, so let's get into what we're talking about today. All right, I'll give us some basic info and then we can kind of talk through some of our own stuff with this band, Me Without You. So, released on May 15th, 2012. 10 Stories is Me Without You's 5th studio album and one of the band's most ambitious artistic statements. Produced by Daniel Smith from Danielson. Mixed by longtime collaborator Brad Wood, the album expands on the band's signature blend of post-hardcore, indie rock, and art rock with rich arrangements featuring strings, horns, piano, and layered vocal textures. Inspired by a real newspaper article about a circus train derailment in Montana, frontman Aaron Weiss crafted a sweeping concept album that imagines the stories of the escaped circus animals, using their journeys as allegories for faith, doubt, identity, suffering, and redemption. Rather than relying on heavy guitars alone, the production constantly shifts between intimate acoustic passages and explosive crescendos. 10 Stories is widely regarded as one of Me Without You's finest achievements. A concept album that balances literary storytelling with some of the band's most dynamic and emotionally resonant performances. So there you have it. Let's maybe give our background with Me Without You. We've never covered them proper. And then this record. So where does Me Without You enter into y'all's story?
So for me, I saw Aaron Wise perform in California at a benefit. And I was like, man, this guy, like, it's funny because it was like him, Aaron Gillespie, and like John Foreman and the guy from Nickel Creek. So really, when you list all those people, then you said Aaron Wise. There's just one guy that stands out from all of them. And So I really love their music, and the first album I bought of theirs was, I think that it was, I brought Brother Sister and It's All Crazy, but It's All Crazy was one I dove more into. So I was more introduced to the story side of Me Without You, and then like a year later they come out with 10 Stories. So this was like right as I was getting into them, this came out. So I really got to dive into this.
Yeah.
So this album is just really exciting for me because I associate with all those like kind of emotions of, oh, I'm discovering this new band, and now I get to like jump on the train with them, if you will. Mm-hmm. Not the one that's crashing, but so yeah, to me, like it's just cool. Like I feel like this is almost like if you discovered Star Wars like in 1998 and they're like, hey, you know, they're coming out with a new movie next year. And you're like, what? So.
Awesome. Jordan, what about you?
So actually, Fiji Mermaid was the first Me Without You song
Interesting.
that I ever heard. I was telling Brandon last night, so like Fuse TV, I think it was Fuse TV, they used to do like an alternative hour or something. And so I would listen to a lot of music on there from like music videos and stuff. And I would then go and look up those bands on YouTube and then get recommendations of other bands. And I'm pretty sure they came up in like a recommended video for like a lyric video, because there's no actual music video for that. But like I heard it and I was like, oh, they're kind of interesting. And what's funny is, like, before Brandon and I even started dating, we had a conversation, and he was like, oh, I see that you like Me Without You. I like Me Without You, too. But he was much more of a fan than I was.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, like, I think Fiji Mermaid was the first song that I ever heard of them. And, yeah, I liked them.
Surprised it wasn't Fox's Dream of the Log Flume.
No.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. I think Brandon, we've talked about this. My exposure to Me Without You goes back pretty far.
You and Aaron were best friends.
No.
Grew up together.
My band played a couple of shows with a band called The Operation back in the day, which was kind of like an indie emo band. And when we did that, it just so happened that The Operation had a drummer by the name of Aaron Weiss. And so I got to meet Aaron through that. We didn't become best friends, but, and then, we actually ended up, so Me Without You started as like a side project of The Operation, my understanding. And then we actually got to play a show then with Me Without You in their early days, like around when the first record came out. And then I got to see him a couple of times too. I remember one of my last shows with my band was playing at Cornerstone in 2003. And Me Without You played not on a stage, but they played what was like a generator stage. They were just getting off the ground. Not a lot of people knew who they were. And so they literally just set up with a generator and played. And I remember the like crowd just like careening around them because they were obviously like unlike anything that anybody had ever heard before. And people were just enamored by it. And so that was kind of cool. And then I got into and listened to like the first 3 records a lot. And then, I don't know why I didn't press too much further, but for me with 10 Stories, like literally this is the first time that I've ever listened to this album. And so Brandon, you were like, this is one we need to cover. And so I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like I would love to listen to something that I haven't ever listened to by them before. So yeah. It was not like the first 3 records.
Yeah, I think too, like I go back to, I was telling Jordan that like Brother Sister, I think is pretty much unanimously, it's regarded as their best album. And for a lot of people, it's regarded as like maybe the best album. Like if I had to choose an album I loved and put it up against people as like the greatest album ever, that's the album I'm reaching for. And so I think that there's other albums that like they get kind of forgotten. Because I don't know, like I think that like It's All Crazy, that's very divisive with people. And I think even like some of their newer stuff, but I think that like each one of their albums is kind of their own, like even their earlier 3 albums, like you wouldn't say, oh yeah, they're all the same. You'd be like, oh yeah, this one is this one's more screaming or whatever. And this one, whenever people ask like, what's your music taste like? Usually I either go for House of Heroes, The End Is Not the End, or I go with this one. And I'm like, man, there's an album about this circus train that derails and it just follows these animals. And
This describes your personality.
I think it's just, I look at stuff and, you know, it's not patting myself on the back, but sometimes I listen to stuff and I think I could write that. Like I could sit down and I could write in that style. But like I look at this stuff and I'm like, man, I don't think, like I don't know if I could ever sit down and say I'm going to read this about the circus train and write this cohesive album about it. And I think that's the stuff that impresses me, is when I think, man, I don't even know where to begin sitting down writing an album like this. And those are the albums that impress me the most.
Yeah, Aaron's such an interesting guy, and he is such a unique just persona, and obviously it bleeds into lyrics and music and kind of everything for who they are. So I definitely hear that. All right, you guys want to get into it? Let's talk about these tracks. So 10 Stories starts off track 1 of February 1878, which has to be a play on January 1979, right?
It is.
So, yeah. Talk to me about that.
I researched that part. And it is like a juxtaposition to 70, January 1979.
Yeah.
For the listeners too, like I think we've touched on it before, that me and Jordan interpret music very differently. Like I'm way more of it's lyrics are like 70% of it and music's like 30%. And for Jordan, it's flipped, where it's like, this just sounds great. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'll figure that out later. Right. And so for this one, I was like, if there was ever an album to read the lyrics, this is the album. I think even on Jesus Freak Hideout, they say, hey, we recommend using like a 19th century dictionary while while listening to this album.
There are so many like little I don't know the right word, but like time period specific phrases for like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And so like if you don't know those things, you're not going to understand this.
Yeah, it's you know how like when an actor like is going to play a character and they basically go through and try and live and become that character in order to. I kind of feel like Aaron had to do that in a little bit.
He jumped in a
get
time
the stuff
machine
on paper. Like he had to live for a little while, like he was living in the 19th century. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the track, Jordan?
So the way that I have analyzed each track is I wrote my music notes first, and then I had to go back through to read the lyrics, and then I wrote my lyric notes. So all of the songs, you'll hear my musical notes first, and then you'll hear my lyric notes. So in this one, I like the chaotic guitar, and I like that it sounded like a train. Like you can hear the rhythmic train, and then it pauses. There's like a screeching halt almost. And that's whenever the train crash happens. So I like that the music reflects that. Lyrically, let's see. I wrote, the elephant is accepting her fate. The train crashed. The rabbit runs. The fox and the bear run. But the elephant can't run. And then there's mention of self, they'll, and me, but all of those are in like quotations, and I think the elephant is saying those things about like herself and me, and then they'll, and so it's almost like a bigger kind of idea of self, a bigger idea of they, it's not just like, oh, the townspeople are going to come and kill me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they, like the world, is going to come kill me, which if you listen to the song, if you continue on to the next couple of songs, you'll find out that the elephant is going to get killed. But I wrote How Sad, because towards the end it starts to get really sad. And then the tiger is there, and the tiger just kind of gives up, and he kind of accepts his fate as well. He's like, well, whatever. Yeah. So those are my notes.
Yeah, I was going to say that the tiger, I know a lot of people they go to this idea of like, oh, the elephant's like wise and all, so that's why it's staying there. But with the tiger, you think of it being like this very powerful, very skilled, like hunter and strong animal. But it's like, it's been in the circus for so long that it's just like, yeah, I just like sit down. Like, it's not, I'm going to fight or I need to escape. It's just, yeah, I'm just going to sit down. I agree about the beginning. I really like that it starts with like the guitar and this like little rhythm, and then you have like the bells going. I think we talk a lot about song, like opening tracks setting up the album. And I think this just sets you up for, yep, that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get this story. I'm going to get different animals like telling this stuff. And whenever I listen to this, I almost close my eyes and just like picture a movie. Like, it's just so vivid, and it's like you're reading a book, but it's condensed into 3 minutes and 40 seconds, or whatever. So yeah, I think it's a really cool opener.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to follow the story of what's going on, and I'll probably ask you guys some clarifying questions as we go on about that, because you're doing a good job tracking with it. But obviously, I think I tend to think more about like what's happening musically, and so yeah, I felt like initially I'm like, oh, this is much less like edgy than what I'm used to for Me Without You. But I also am like, okay, yeah, this is like a sequel or a play on January 1979. I love the like, I like having the different like voices speaking. And even there are like times, I can't remember if it's on this song or just other songs, but even their voices change depending on like what situations are like happening, whether it's like almost a whisper or whatever it may be. And so, but yeah, I love that like there's piano here, there's sleigh bells here. I think the drums and the guitar are cool. Like there's a point in the song that gets like pretty jazzy. And I love the vibe of all that. And then towards the end when it's sad, the like ooh vocals, kind of in the background, I think were kind of fun. So, but I think the whole time I'm just like, okay, this is different than the Me Without You that I'm used to. And so I do agree that this sets up the album pretty well, but I'm like, is this just like a different like first track? And then it's going to be like, oh, Me Without You. And so I'm still at this point trying to imagine what I'm getting myself into. And as I listen to the whole thing, I'm like, yeah, that is like a pretty indicative like track of where it's going. So
how do you feel about track 2 then, Joel, going into Grist for the Malady Mill?
So I like track 2 even more than track 1. I wrote down, love this one. There's like a fast strumming acoustic guitar in the background, which is very much like The Cure kind of thing. I thought the feel of like, I just got a sense musically in this track of like a lot more creativity that I feel them doing than I felt in the first track. The feel of the verse is like really cool, just the vibe of it. And then you get the like screaming at the end. And so I'm like, oh, this feels a little more like Me Without You. There's gang vocals that are happening. It's like this album is so interesting to me because like there are times that I'm listening to it and I'm hearing like, this is a weird thing to say, but I heard like a lot of like 90s alternative rock happening. Like it's like if I turn off and I don't think about this being Me Without You, I literally wrote down this song sort of feels like the Counting Crows, but like an edgy version of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like weird, especially for a band like Me Without You. And so, I kept getting vibes like that, like, it feels like 90s alternative rock, not like 2012 post-hardcore indie rock. But I'm here for it. Like, I like it. I think it's cool. And I feel like it's really interesting to see a band like Me Without You who has they have a following for a specific sound that they've been like cultivating over time. And I feel like it's like the riskiest thing in the world to do something like this. And granted, I haven't listened to the album before this, so I don't exactly know what's there, but I could see their fans just being like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way possible, not in like the worst way. Yeah, I really like this track a lot.
What about you, Jordan?
I said that I like the drums and I like the screams and the singing at the end. Where like I feel like there's a big build. But then also it talks about how like the townspeople and everything as they're coming up to see the train crash. It's so like Malady Mill is like the rumor mill. So it's grist is like you're feeding it corn. So you're providing things for the mill to churn out. And so this whole crash is providing rumors for people to start saying like, well, this happened. No, this happened. And so like that's the whole kind of meaning of the song is like people are going to say what they want to say anyways. So they've already come up with their own assumptions of what exactly happens. So like there's no point in trying to convince them otherwise. And then one line that I really like is the silent side of the cemetery walls. I was like, that's such a good line. And then it talks about the peacock and how she's more focused on like how she looks than actually trying to do something. And then again, it's like that rumor mill. Like, are you more focused on how you're appearing to other people than actually doing what you need to do? And then it talks about Casey Jones. And if you don't know the story of Casey Jones was a train conductor who tried to stop a train from crashing and saved a lot of people. And yeah. So there's a parallel that Casey Jones is like the elephant because the elephant is like trying to sacrifice herself to let the other animals go.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks off of the album. This is a track that I just throw on like if I'm going for a run, I throw it on there. If I'm mourning, I throw it on there. I don't know. Just everything.
Sitting on the silent side of the cemetery wall.
Going to grab an energy drink, you throw this on. It's like Switchfoot. You just throw it on anything. Yeah. I really like it. I've always liked the line where it says, "I'm clearly not as handsome or caring as what you seem to want, but I'd gladly walk you home because those streets can be dangerous." Like, it's just those little things that add into painting the picture. Like Jordan was saying, all these little things where it's like you throw in Casey Jones and it's just like 2 words in here, but then you can go off and spend 2 to 3 minutes hearing so it's like each song you could almost spend an entire podcast diving into what that song means or could mean. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of that track, and yeah, I love the build up and the scream at the end as well.
Yeah, I agree that for me, this is one of my favorite tracks on the record too. And I feel like it captures a lot of creativity, but still brings in like who Me Without You is. And so that's cool. What about track 3, East Enders Wives?
For me, I felt like it kind of blended in with Malady Mill because I felt like I was listening to it and then I didn't realize that it changed over to the next track because I felt like it sounded pretty seamless. from like the end of Malady Mill to the beginning of Ender's Wives. I liked the soft guitar with the heavy drums. I felt like that was a good juxtaposition because it's like super light guitar and then like bah, 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 heavy drums. But the story about it is Rabbit is meets a fortune teller and like he kind of pins all of his luck on her and is trying to like go with her, but then she ends up betraying him. And then he's left with nothing and he doesn't have anywhere to go. So he's kind of like wandering around aimlessly.
Yeah.
I like that it you have this like slowdown because I think it's kind of just with any especially with a story, but with any album you need that like little bit of slowdowns, as we've talked before. Like you can't just go full throttle the whole time, and so I think it's cool. I also want to point out that so like when I think of female vocalists on this album, I immediately think of Hayley Williams. But like diving into this this episode, I got to dive in and learn a little bit more about the other females that are on here. And so Amy Wilson and Amy Kerrigan also appear on the album. And I think they just it's a really good job of complimenting Aaron, like in those little parts of jumping in there. I will say when it comes to concept albums, I've always thought it would be cool to do an album where you have different people being different characters. And now with this one, it's different because some people pointed out this almost like a parables versus like one continuous story. But I feel like that helps because they're really good songs. But if you're not looking at the lyrics, like you don't pick up thinking, oh, okay, yeah, it's very clear that Rabbit's talking to a fortune teller. Like it can come across as oh, okay, Aaron's talking about that he's doing the stuff or whatever. But yeah, what about you, Joel?
Yeah, I like this. I think it's a good change of pace. I like the acoustic vibe of it. I love the like quiet kind of female vocal responses that are kind of throughout it. Like I said, it's a good change of pace. Also really love the joke about Lent. Of said, let's give up sacrifice next Lent. Well, that joke's long since been spent. Because I had a group of friends who used to joke about giving up Lent for Lent. And so I just think that's funny. I got a laugh out of that, which was cool. But yeah, I like it. I like this one.
That's cool. We move on to Cardiff Giant. I want to say real fast before I get your opinion on this, Joel.
Yeah.
I was sharing with Jordan that, so we saw them live, I think right after this album had came out. And it was funny because they're playing in Columbia and Aaron goes, all right, everyone, we're going to do one more song and you can choose. Do you want us to play Cardiff Giant? And everyone like cheers. And he's like, or in a sweater poorly knit. And like everyone loses their mind. Yeah. And he goes, well, I guess we'll play Sweater, but I mean, Cardiff Giant's good too, but like, it was just it's those little things you get at a concert that him being like, okay, like, guess we'll play that song instead of the new song. But
that's funny. Yeah, Cardiff Giant. So this is my favorite track on the record.
Same.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. And so I just, again, I'm like, this is Me Without You. Like, it doesn't seem or sound like them, but this song's super catchy and poppy, and I love the vibes of it. It's just really musically interesting for them. It's nice to see them like stretch their wings and do something different. And I feel like that goes a long way on a song like this. The guitars are really cool. But at the same time, like on the outro of this, you get what I feel like are the first real like Aaron Wise Me Without You vocals on the record. And so it's like this fun poppy thing, but you also really get like the classic Me Without You like mixed together. And for me, it just worked really well and landed as like, I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds and I'm here for it. I love it. So I thought this was a great tune.
Yeah, like I wrote down probably my favorite
Yeah.
on the thing beside it, but I like that it's a sunny pop punk vibe.
Yeah.
And I went in, I was like, it sounds like the closing song in a movie. Like it's going into the credits. Like
Yeah.
somebody's driving away. And then this song like starts playing, and then the camera like pans up into like a bird's eye view of the car driving, and then it goes into the clouds, and then it's just a view of the clouds, and then the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
And it's just playing like that. That would be the perfect, if anybody is a film score person, there you go.
There you go. You got
I
that
just
one
gave
for
you
free.
an idea. But I really like the bass guitar in it too, and the melody, and I wrote classic Aaron spoken word.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got that classic, like whenever he just goes into a spoken word set. Yeah. Lyrically, with the Cardiff Giant, history of that is that there was a farmer in somewhere in the Midwest that he created this hoax of like, yeah, since the Bible talks about giants, but with the Cardiff Giant, this guy, he claimed that he found this mummified remain of a giant, but really it was like a macrame stone type thing that he had made of a giant. And he was like getting people to pay to come see it, but really it was just a hoax. And it came out later that it was a hoax. But it questions, is life a hoax? Am I really alive? The peacock is talking to the tiger, and the peacock wonders if she's already died because she squandered her freedom. And she questions like, oh, well, did I actually live my life to the fullest? I don't know. And then the tiger takes it as like, he's kind of like, well, I'm doing this, I'm staying behind because I'm reaching like another level of reality, and kind of like nirvana type ideals of like, yeah, I'm doing this in order to become a better version of myself.
I like that. I feel like what's becoming is it's just Joel talking about the music, then Joel talking about, or Jordan talking about like the story behind the lyrics, then me just jumping in with my lyric of the, instead of lyric of the week, it's just lyric of the song.
Lyric of the song.
But there's a line at the very end where when Joel's kind of just like, when Aaron is just yelling, he goes, megalomania is only mania if you're wrong. And so for those who don't know, megalomania, it's just a condition where you think of yourself as just the most powerful and like this giant importance. And I just love this idea of like, well, no, like it's only if you're wrong, but what if you're right about being the like most important?
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's cool because it picks up after EastEnders. That way, it doesn't stay in this like this low place, but it also doesn't go back to this like full on rock of like a Christopher Melody Mill. Like it goes into this kind of like you were saying, like almost this like poppy like type of like
Sunny
feel.
pop.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
It's a great tune. Yeah. All right, we'll move to one of the saddest songs on this record, track 5,
Dang.
Elephant in the Dock. Jordan.
Dang. So again, I'm going to talk about songs, the sound first, and then we'll get into the lyrics because whew. But I like the burst at the chorus. I feel like it kind of like complements the message of the song of like these townspeople are coming in to try to kill this elephant, and it's almost like there's madness. So I like the big crescendo burst. And I like the chaotic electric guitar slides. And then there's a driving with the music. There's a build up. Like there's a lot of crescendos with this. Like it's almost like it helps to push the story along because the story is like these townspeople are coming to kill the elephant because the elephant was to blame for the train crash. And so there's this like build with the music. As the story progresses, the music builds and it creates more tension. And so I wrote, so dang sad. They already said that the elephant was guilty before the trial. Like they already made up their mind. They already knew. And then the elephant calls people out for being trapped by their thoughts and their ways of thinking. So like she's saying, hey, you might think that I am in chains, but really you're the one that's in chains because you are stuck in the way of how you've always done things. You're not willing to change. And then she does admit to being the cause of the train crash, but it's one of those things too, like it looks at cause and effect more so. Like whenever I talked earlier about this idea of self and they and me, and it's like the idea of a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I feel like this song looks at that as like the elephant is the cause of the crash, so then the effect is the people are trying to kill her. But it's more of like a broader picture type look at things.
So I always like to point out that this is a true story, in case you didn't know.
Is.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this going into this, Joel.
Well, I saw that it could be based on a true story.
It is a true
So,
story.
I mean, her talking isn't real,
Yeah.
but there was an elephant that she like reached to get some elephant or some watermelon rinds or whatever, and this new guy that was hired like poked her wherever she had like a bad tooth, and so she like killed the guy. So the town was like, we got to kill this crazy elephant, and so they were gonna like electrocute the elephant, and they're like, we don't have enough power in the town to do that. Then they're like, let's shoot the elephant. But they're like, we don't have enough guns in our town. So then they were like, well, let's just get a giant crane and let's hang the elephant. Yeah. And I feel like that's crazy to think that.
Hang
like,
the elephant.
I couldn't imagine like in Somerville them being like, yep, you hear that elephant. You're like,
I know.
It's
I
kind
saw
of
the
bad.
picture of
dang
that.
sad.
So
And
sad.
I just like to point out that I feel like that's crazy. But yeah, I love that. And you can probably talk a little bit more about this, Joel, but it's almost like where it's like at the end of like hang the elephant must hang, the guitar does this thing, or it almost sounds like a laser beam that's like shooting. Like it's just
the
this really
slides on
cool.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think it's maybe one of the first like really just kind of like diving in, because the other ones are just kind of like, oh, playfully talking about like what's life, or
Yeah.
oh man, what am I gonna do? But this is like there's finality to this story.
It's such a sad song. Yeah. And then I saw that backstory and then saw the picture of the hanging of that elephant. It's awful. But yeah, I like the song. You guys talked about the guitars. I noted that on the chorus, that at the same time that there's a guitar rising, there's one falling, like, which is like, I feel a little bit of picture of like what's happening in the song, that even with like evil and bad in the world, that there are good things that are happening too. And so I feel like they're even musically painting a picture of the tension of evil and good and the balance of both, and that good can come out of something evil that's happening. And yeah, so it brings me to like a bigger question, like almost theologically here, is Aaron wrestling with like the sovereignty of God, even as it like in some ways does the elephant's death, like, is it mirroring the death of Jesus here, and talking about how obviously it's pretty easy to look and see that the people are crying for the elephant to hang, and it looks a lot like the people crying for Jesus to be crucified, right? But then at the same time, there's the whole wrestling with like, well, she caused like this suffering to happen, this crash to happen. But yet, even in the midst of that, there's like good that comes out of it because these animals who have been enslaved are set free and they have this new freedom, and they don't all get it right.
Yeah.
Right? But they have this freedom that comes from this crash. And so even in suffering, like something good happens. And so I can't help but think that there's like some parallel that he's pulling here.
Yeah.
It feels pretty obvious to me, even though it's like not super on the nose. So did you guys think about that at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like this whole, like, I'm going to talk about it in my overview note, but I feel like all of these songs are kind of this idea of exploring different like religions and their kind of theology of each one. And like you have the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, but then also like with the tiger reaching a new level of nirvana type ideal. But then also like there's a lot of stoicism where it's like, well, it is what it is type deal. So I feel like there's an exploration of all of those aspects of different theologies and ideas of the world.
Yeah.
Next, we move into Aubergine. Joel, what were your thoughts on this track?
Yeah. I didn't write a lot of notes for this track, honestly. I wrote that I like the background vocals. And then I just made a note that I'm like, the song feels kind of samey though. Like I don't feel like it like went into new like territory, which I felt like most of the other songs had done to this point. And I think this is a moment in the record where like I feel like a lot of, at least musically, some of the things that happen from here on out like feel a little samey to me from like just what's in the early and the variety that you have in the earlier songs. And so this is kind of the start of some of that for me. So yeah.
I agree. I feel like it sort of sounds the same as the next few songs. But I like the sound and the melodies, like the female singer and him going back and forth, which on this one is Amy Kerrigan. And so I like the like building of it, and then like the kind of like rhythmic driving drum throughout. It's like, but basically the meaning of the song is that time is an illusion. Are we even really here? What's this all about? So again, like exploring those theology type questions. And then it's kind of like almost like a self-reflecting song where he's talking about like, am I too self-focused? Like, am I too focused on myself? And I like the line where it talks about like until you're self-focused until you realize how much you need help. Like you're so focused on who you are. And it talks about like the fish. I was a fish gasping for air or something like that. I don't remember. I didn't write that line down. But they're basically saying like I'm so focused on myself until I need to ask for help. And I need to like look to other people. And then I wrote on there that really the song is eggplants talking? ?
There you go. Me Without You.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down that from what I've seen, people either kind of like just roll their eyes and they're like, oh, okay, this track's here. Or they really like it. And I fall into the camp of I really like it. I think it's just kind of this kind of time to kind of slow down again before the chaos of the end. So I like that it's really smooth. It's got some of my favorite lyrics, including the ending where it's like they asked about the passage of the Bible on my wrist, but I couldn't catch my breath to answer. Like for some reason that just feels like it just feels super real. Like I can just picture that moment where someone being like, excuse me, what does your shirt mean? Or what do you mean by that? And I looked up that the verse on his hand, or they from what they said on Reddit was it's the blessed are the poor in spirit.
Yeah.
And I think on the other one it's like for they shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I don't know, I think that's one of those verses that, yeah, if you don't know about the Bible, you kind of wonder, like, what do you mean by, like, blessed are the poor in spirit? So, so I fall in the category of I enjoyed it. I think it's needed where it was.
It just feel like Aaron talking for the first time on the record to me right there, that last line. Yeah, I love that too. All right, track number 7. This is a big one for the record. Fox's Dream of the Log Flume. What'd you guys think about that?
This is probably my favorite track on the whole album. What I really love is, I was telling Jordan that this is something that, like, I know I experienced before with, like, their music, because even on this album, like, this record, they're doing it. But I just love the fact that there's not a chorus on here. And I think that's so cool. Like, there's just some times where it's like I've said before, where it's like, you know, you're doing like a Casting Crown song or something, not to call them out, but it's like, this person's really struggling, like, what's going to happen? But then the chorus is like, God's here for us. He loves us. Then the second verse is like, well, you know, they finally decide to come to church and they're starting to read their Bible. God's for us. But it's like you already are like, here's the,
You might have a hit single on your hands right there.
Like if you were watching a movie and they're like, are they going to make it to the moon? And then they had this like shot where it's like, you know, a year later, people being like, man, I love those people being on the moon. That was cool. They did that. And then you cut back to like, are we going to build this rocket? You're like, well, yeah, they're going to safely make it to the moon. Like, you've already shown me that. I just love like the chat between the fox and the bear too. Like, this just feels, like with the line I love in this is that, he says the part about, he's like on this date and he's like, did you ever have that recurring fantasy where you push little kids from the tops of rides? And she shook her head no. And I said, oh, neither did I. And it just makes me think about like the times like where you just say the most ridiculous things and you're like, I thought that was cool, but yeah, that's really awkward that I like said that.
Might be the darkest part of the whole record right there.
Probably. But yeah, I love them going back and forth and just having this conversation. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. I said that I liked the opening guitar, like do 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 do. I did like little lines in my notebook. And I was like, I know I can't convey this in word, so I'm just gonna have to draw lines. And then Hayley Williams, I said that, like, Hayley Williams, yeah, I like her in it. And then it sounds like kind of two different songs. Like, it starts off, and then there's kind of like a transition where it's almost like a different melody. But yeah. So it sounds like two different songs. Lyrically, it's talking about how there's no real certainty at all. Again, time is an illusion. What are we? Are we even real? There's nothing certain in this life. And then, like you said with that line, it's almost talking about like feeling a certain way and wanting company in that feeling, like wanting to find someone that gets you, and then you don't get that, and then you're like, oh, this is awkward.
Especially when it has to be pushing kids off of a ride.
You ever wanted to inflict pain in
Okay,
children?
everyone. So it's very clear that Joel does not like the bear. We get it, Joel. The murderous bear. I'm sure coming up, Joel's gonna be really happy in a few couple of tracks then.
Yep. Whenever that, you know what's coming. Yeah. But and then it talks about how like almost fighting with somebody to make it easier to say goodbye. How like it looks at that idea of, well, I'm sure that there's been people in your life or times in your life where you've been like, if I got into a fight with somebody, then it would make saying goodbye a lot easier, and it would give me a good reason to never talk to them again. But really, like it hurts whenever you do that. And so like Bear and Fox are kind of having this argument almost. And then Fox has a dream that Bear dies, and then Fox is telling Bear, like, oh my gosh, I had this dream that you were dead. I was so sad. But then Fox even like looks back and is like, because of that dream and seeing like, oh my gosh, my friend is almost like, they died in my dream. Like, maybe we should have just stayed with the circus. Like, we should have gone back. We shouldn't have left. And it's almost like Fox is missing the certainty that was there, but now like there's no certainty at all.
We should have never left Egypt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was one of the singles on the record, right? And so, yeah, I felt like this was the first song that like sounded like classic Me Without You. And so I picked up on all that. Yeah, I wrote Pushing the Kids part is dark. Yeah, and there's the line in there that there's no God and there's definitely a God, which I just thought was an interesting like picture of like the wrestling that I feel like we all go through in like moments of our life, like struggling in belief, but then like still believing, you know. And I like the change up that comes that like changes the pace of the song completely. I wrote down the comment like it's got to be hard to make a single like on this record because the songs are so like just interesting, and the themes of the songs are so interesting that like actually making a single that's like a story of an animal is like a pretty challenging thing, but yeah, they did it. So good job, guys. Congrats.
Woo.
There you go. 9 Stories. Jordan, what do you think about 9 Stories?
I said, I like the sound of the chorus. Again, it sounds like 2 different songs. I feel like the beginning of the song is a little bit different than the end. And then I also wrote horns, ? Cool. I liked the horns in it. And I think I didn't write this one down, but there was one song that as I was listening to it, I don't know if it was the horns or if it was the guitar, but I was thinking this kind of sounds like Steve Taylor a little bit. Like it reminded me of a Steve Taylor song, and I think it was this one that I heard it on, or it might be another one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this one. But basically, the lyrics of the song are talking about Walrus and how he's going through all of these farmlands because the homestead laws, basically the government said, hey, we'll give you this land for free, but you got to work it and you're contracted in, and it's going to be hard because this land is pretty barren, i.e. the Dust Bowl. So the walrus is going through all of this and seeing like these poor farm families basically. But then he runs into an owl who is trying to get the walrus to kind of live a little and say, you know what, you've done a hard thing. Why not live it up a little bit? Take a walk on the wild side. It'll be okay. And then the walrus enjoys being alone. And then I liked the line because it talks about Jacob's ladder. And I like the part that says that I think the owl is saying it, that very ladder just as well descends. And I like the juxtaposition of like, well, you're telling me that I can climb the ladder to heaven, but you know that ladder also descends too. So like you need to get off of your high horse and stop like judging me. But yeah, there's not really like a conclusion as to what the walrus decides. The song just kind of ends.
Gotta watch out for those owls.
They're tricky.
Jordan, you wrote down horns ? And I wrote down horns ! Yes, they're there. They're
Yes.
great. I do like that. I thought the chorus on this one was interesting and cool. I liked it, and I like the change up that happens. Like, again, it happens a lot in the songs on this record where things will go through a shift, not just thematically, but musically as well. I wrote down on this one, I was hearing some REM, like again, some 90s alternative rock, just getting an REM vibe, which I thought was really interesting and different. And so I liked that about it because it felt different again. And yeah, like this one obviously deals kind of with the idea of temptation, but also like escape that, that like God provides a way out. Right. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
I think I didn't think about it until Jordan was talking, but I think that it's interesting that when you think of an owl, like usually they're these creatures of like wisdom and all.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool that you have like almost to the point of, you know, the walrus is talking about all this stuff, but then the owl is also saying this stuff about like, well, is it, I think there's a lot of stuff on this album that it's not just a clear cut, yep, that's what you're supposed to do. It's a lot of like I might sit there and say this is right or wrong. And I think even like I've seen some people talk about this album saying like, yep, this album is about like you like throwing away your faith and realizing that like, oh, it's like, what is faith? There's not certainty. But there's other people saying like, yeah, that's where faith comes in, is there's no certainty. Like it's almost like, yeah, I'm a follower of Jesus and I'm agreeing with you. Like this is where faith comes in. I don't have all these scientific things to throw out. I also just like, I've always loved the line where he says, I was there at Appomattox back in 1965 when the Journal arrived. I would just, if someone's out there listening, I mean, you probably do this with ChatGPT, so maybe I don't need to throw that, but I would just love a photo of like generally like Grant, some other officers, and then just like a walrus there, well, like dressed in like
a top hat and a monocle.
Yeah, like just I don't know. I just love that. It's just it adds such a human aspect of like, oh, like this walrus was in the Civil War. Like I just think it's cool because it goes back to you're giving. Like these are characters. They're not just one-dimensional like beings. So yep. Now we move on to the next track.
Track number 9, Fiji Mermaid. Jordan, talk to me about it.
Like I said earlier, this was the first Me Without You song that I heard.
And what a song to hear.
What a song. I said that I like the guitar. It's very surf rocky. Like there's a little bit of like Beach Boys almost, kind of like, or that one, that like a little bit of a surf rock type, and it pushes you forward. Aaron's whispers that turn into screams, and just when you think it's almost over, it bursts at the end, and there's still a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I feel like I like that. Yeah. And then lyrically, it talks about with all of the animals being gone from the circus, and how are we going to pay our bills? Oh, we'll come up with a bunch of hoaxes and sideshow type things, snake oils, and, Fiji mermaid, which if you don't know was a fishtail sewed onto the body of like a monkey? Was it a monkey?
Yep.
Yeah. And they said, "Oh yeah, this is a mermaid we found. Look at it. Ooh!" But it's just a hoax. Again, a Cardiff giant. Like that's how they're trying to get the people to come in because the animals are gone now. And in the there's a line that says Harlequin's sword. That's really hard to say for me. Harlequin's sword. There we go. Which is basically like if you know theater from back in like medieval times, I think is whenever the Harlequin stuff was around. But the sword that they carried was a wooden sword. And so it's basically like a fake sword. So like there's, again, you're portraying that you've got this, but it's really not what you're saying it is. And then I think this is the lyric. When you're doing as you please doesn't please you anymore. Mm-hmm. I like that line. And you're trying to make things work, but they are not working. And it's easier to place the blame on other people than to actually take the blame yourself. Mm-hmm. So like that, they're kind of saying, well, we have to do these side show things because of the animals. It's all the animals' fault. Better yet, I'm glad that elephant's dead because that elephant was the cause of all of this. Mm-hmm. If that elephant wouldn't have been on that dang train, we would still be having a show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I really love this this track too. This would probably be like my top 3. It'd probably get bronze medal if this was a race going on. I just love that it's just like so many words just going around. It's so many little things where it's like, what did you say? Like the thing about like when doing as you please doesn't please you anymore. And then like you'll miss having someone to blame for your sadness. Now won't you? And I love at the end where like it slows down and then you have him yelling the like, did you come knocking on my door or did I come to yours? Whose ship came washed up on whose shore and from what ocean floor? Like, I don't know. I remember years ago someone said that like good movies, they don't answer questions, they ask questions.
Yeah.
And I think that Aaron does that well because it goes back to what I said previously. Like, there's a lot in this album that it's not, here's what to believe. It's, I don't know, I'm figuring this out. Like, what do you think? And like, yeah, like I can read that and have my interpretation, but then Joel can walk away and have a completely different interpretation of like what he's trying to say right there.
Yeah. So I'm a real sucker for weird stuff, like the Fiji Mermaid. Mm-hmm. I actually really like sideshows. And
me too.
there used to be, there was a TV show on like Annie for a little while. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe it's called Oddities, but it was based off of a really weird store in New York City that I've been able to go to a few times. Of just random crazy stuff like that. Plus, if you go to New York, you can go out to like the sideshow stuff, and they've got shows with like sword swallowers and all kinds of. I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. I just think it's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And part of it goes back to there's an X-Files episode about the Fiji Mermaid that kind of got me into like loving weird stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is at like a circus. Anyways, yeah. So I love the theme of it. I love the circus is boring now. What do? We've got to like save this thing. Mm-hmm. So let's just kind of lean into this weird stuff. But yeah, this one's cool. I like the tempo, like the just tempo of it. 'Cause it is interesting with like the acoustic guitar, but then the tempo that you've got, I like the ahs that happen. But yeah, I'm more just like into the theme of the song. I think it's kind of cool. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, next we move to Bear's Vision of St. Agnes. Joel, I bet you love this track.
There are a lot of things that I like about this track. There's a trombone in there, which is fun. I love like part of the way through the song, I was just kind of like, oh, this is feeling kind of samey with like a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But then there's that random like weird chaos moment when things go like, and then you go into the big guitars and the horns at the end, and I'm like, I love the end of the song a lot, and so yeah, I probably didn't think too much about the like story of the bear, unfortunately, but I'm guessing from what you guys are telling me, like the bear's gonna get it or something.
Jordan, would you like to inform what happens?
All right. So first I'm going to talk musically what I liked about it and what I didn't like because it was too slow. Mm-hmm. and I don't like slow songs.
How am I supposed to dance to this?
It gets not that way at the end.
Yeah, towards the end. But like to start, not my favorite. It's too slow. But I do like the crescendo, and around the bridge area is kind of when it happens.
Yeah.
So I like that big crescendo, and then I like the horn and the violin at the end. Like I heard a violin in there, so I did like that. But so lyrically, story wise, the bear loved the fox. Is it more than friendship, or is it just a deep friendship? Who knows? There's not really a clear-cut way of explaining how the bear felt about the fox, but there is a love there, regardless. And so the bear is having this talk, and like he said earlier, hey, have you ever felt this way? Oh, no. Ooh, this is awkward. And then there's like almost this idea of maybe I should like start arguing to make this goodbye easier, because the bear is already thinking. And the bear is like, I feel like I am slowing you down, so I need to sacrifice myself so that you will have enough food. Like we're dwindling on food. I'm going to sacrifice myself, and that way essentially you can eat me. And
It just got darker.
You'll have enough food to live. And so whenever Fox says, man, Bear, I had a dream that you died and you were like laying on the beach dead. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. And Bear's like, funny you mentioned that. I've been thinking about that. And he's about to kill himself. And then this song is talking about how he does kill himself. And then the fox, it feels like she's kind of been holding the bear back. Like she starts to have this internal monologue of like the bear is saying that he's slowing her down, but she's like, I feel like I've held you back from actually living a full life. Like I've kept you to myself when you could have gone and done all of these things. Like who knows what you could have accomplished. And then there's a line, but if you'll improve, we'll all improve. And it's the bear is saying that as he is falling from the cliff. Like he's throwing himself off of the cliff. Like it talks about like 60 feet, 40 feet, 10 feet. Like he's having that thought of like, if you'll improve, then we all improve. So I'm going to sacrifice myself so that you can do better. You can go and have freedom, but I'm going to have to sacrifice myself in that.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I was fighting back tears as Jordan was talking about that. This is the first time that I feel like I've ever reviewed something and had to fight to be like, I don't want to start like cracking up or like crying. But like this song, like I used to like, it's a song you're not going to put on every podcast.
Right.
And the other day I was like, okay, let me go back and listen to it, because I haven't listened to this in a long time. And like I started like tearing up in the car listening to it. Just the idea of like Fox being like, man, if it wasn't for me, you could have done all these things. Like you could have found that girl that you used to talk about and all. And then it goes back to, and I never noticed this till last night, that in Fox's Dream of the Log Flume, it's got a line where it says like, you know, I dreamt that you fell down and like they gathered like wolves, like howling for answers. And then like I charged at the waves with a glass in my hand. So the idea behind it is that like the fox didn't want the water to take away like its friend. And like it's going to try to fight the ocean with that. But yeah, I think it's like, the first time you listen to it, you're like, that's pretty slow. But I think that once you know what it's like a movie, like once you know what's going to happen, you understand like, okay, that's what we're building towards, is this big end with it. But yeah.
So I have a lot of like random questions that we may not really get into. But like, yeah, I don't know.
It's deep.
Yeah. Just from a surface level, is if it's a bear and a fox, is it cannibalism if the bear wants the fox to eat the bear? But then also they're in love, so if it's not, then is it? You know what I mean?
I feel like it's not technically cannibalism because if a bear were to die in the woods and a fox came upon it, it would probably eat it because it's meat.
But would that same bear and fox like be best friends or be in love?
You know, if I had to go back to the beginning of this podcast and I had to point out that eventually there's going to be a part where one of us is going to be tearing up, being like, this song is just so beautiful and gosh, it makes me cry. And the other one was going to make little comments about like, well, okay, was it cannibalism or what's going on here? Like, I would have never thought that it would have been, I would have thought it would have been Joel being the one that like, this is incredible. And me going, oh, I don't know, the guitar, it sounds like a clown. But this one, I just love I just love the fact that Jordan's like painting the picture and I'm over here being like, I had to start reading other notes so that I didn't tear up. And then Joel being like, I got a question or two about this. I would have
just defy the laws of nature.
If I would have lost that bet just 10 out of 10 times at the beginning of the podcast.
It's just so interesting. And like, yeah, I mean, it is super sad, but it's also dark and yeah, I don't have a lot of complicated feelings about it.
Remember, it's a concept album, so you
Right.
have to think of it allegorically.
Right. Yeah, I can do that.
So we move to our final song, All Circles. Joel, what are you thinking?
Yeah. So I feel like it's usually best to let Jordan answer first because she can give context as to what's happening, and it's easier for me to be like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I will comment on musical things that are happening, and then just kind of like stay out. So there's a lot of repetition here lyrically, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about this track is that Daniel Smith shows up on vocals, which is really fun. And you got Haley Williams back as well, so maybe the best of both worlds, right? And I feel like what's happening musically mirrors like the idea of the song and the theme of the song, and that they even get to a point where they're like singing in the round at the end, which fits with the idea of circles. And I'm guessing there's some circle of life stuff in here, but also like that nothing is ever an end, but like things go on and continue. There's probably a lot of that kind of imagery that's happening that I wasn't able to dig into. But I love the idea that is like musically pictured in the song. It's probably not my favorite song on the record by any stretch, but I like how they paint that picture with the music.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it kind of blends in with Bear's vision. So like at the first, when was it? EastEnders Wives kind of blends with Malady Mill a little bit. I feel like this one kind of blends in with Bear's vision of Saint Agnes. Like the sound of it kind of sounds like a continuation of the same song. And I like the melody and the wave form. I even drew like a wave on my notes. So it's like a kind of a cyclical sort of melody. And then I wrote Haley Williams, Chef's Kiss, because I really like her, especially like in the bridge, whenever they start doing that kind of round singing. Yeah, I just really like that. But lyrically,
Yes.
let's dive in. Okay, so the elephant set the animals free. Whenever the train crashed, she went around and opened up all the cages to allow them to escape. And even if some of them went nowhere, it was still worthwhile for them to go on their own journeys of discovery. So like with the rabbit, he ended up kind of going nowhere really because he kind of squandered everything with the fortune teller. Bear ended up dead. Fox is now questioning, where should I go? The walrus, he's still arguing with the owl. Who knows where he is? And then you've got the peacock and the tiger that stayed. And the peacock was then like, oh man, I'm staying, but have I wasted my life? And then the tiger is like, oh, I'm like gaining something from staying. And then the elephant is dead as well. So lots of death, lots of dismal stories. But even though there is not a whole lot of upswing for all of these characters, it was still worthwhile for them to have this discovery of who they are and to grow and to learn who they are. But only in their leaving can they ever come back around. I think that's one of the lines. One of the lyrics is like, it only in its leaving can it come back around. All circles begin with an end. Everything in our life that happens is from something else ending. So it's basically like looking more at the cause and effect type thing. Like, well, this happened and it led to this, but this happened because another thing happened. And that happened because another thing happened. And so like, it's all a circle. And there's like in order for something to happen, something else has to happen to launch it into place. Like that's kind of what it's all looking at is it's tying up all of these stories in a nice, neat bow, but it's not really a nice, neat bow because look at the stories.
Right.
But it's saying like, hey, all of these things happened, but there's going to be continuations of these stories that we're not even going to realize and know. But there was continuations of stories before that we don't know. So we're just looking at one tiny aspect and how those small actions have launched these characters into another like story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like about this is that the lyrics are so simple, but the music is just so much going on. And then even how they're presented, it's so much going on. And it maybe it's just because I'm hungry. I don't know. But it makes me think of like a Chick-fil-A sandwich, which I would love if this was like going into an ad where it's like, try the new Southwest.
You never know.
But like they used to talk about how, like a sandwich is just so simple. But it's like the way we present it. Like it's when you go into our store, the way the store is, the way the people treat you, the way the care is like this guy is taking bread, chicken, and pickles, but there's so much care put into it. And when I think of the song, I just think of like sometimes it's cool just to keep things simple and then really just go all out with it. But yeah, that's what kind of makes me think of this being... someone said it was like, oh, it's just almost a collection of parables rather than like all these continuous stories. And that's what makes me kind of think is at the end, it's like, if not, you think that's a really sad movie that like your best friend dies and you're like, what do I do now? And then the credits roll with like, hey, everyone. But I think that, because it goes back to different ways. Like people could look at it and think, oh man, the fox, they're going through all of this. Or they could look at it with, the fox had the friend sacrificed themselves, and now this fox is going to be able to live out this amazing life in freedom because someone else sacrificed themselves. So like for me, I've seen it as I feel like the fox goes on to have this this really good life because it sounds like the most depressing, but it comes from like a friend stepping in to like sacrifice. But yeah, that's Me Without You's 10 stories.
All right. Well, let's quickly kind of talk about our closing thoughts on the record and maybe give our ratings. I can go first.
Okay.
If you guys want. So, for me, I said this earlier, like this is such a different record for me to listen to when it comes to Me Without You. I wasn't expecting this in a lot of different ways, lyrically, like concept. I love the idea of like building an album around creating a big story like this. And so I thought that was super cool. And I really enjoyed where it went in a lot of ways. And I thought, again, musically, there's a lot of variety here, which I think is a strength. I'm surprised they didn't play a little closer to like kind of the cards of who they are. And I feel like that in some ways where the record felt kind of samey to me, like that's one thing that maybe I wish would have happened, is that like in some of those moments, just like lean into what you do best versus trying to do something different. And it ended up sounding more kind of like some other things. But overall, I really enjoyed the creativity of it and them trying to do new stuff. And so I thought it was a lot of fun, and there definitely are some high points on here for me. And I know, I'll definitely go back and listen to this one a lot. And so for me, granted, this is a first listen of this record, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 3.8. So,
Gotcha. What about you, Jordan?
Well, so lyrically, it's very sad and makes you question your existence and the meaning of life. Like if you just look at the lyrics of everything, it makes you wonder, like, dang, life is tough. Am I really a real person? Is this all real?
you are real, Jordan.
But is it? Time is an illusion. But I feel like it's heavy and it's like mostly dismal. Like whenever you look at all the stories, like it's very sad, lots of sadness. But dang, is it good? Like sounding, like it's catchy, and I feel like that's the selling point. Is that it's a lot of like catchy songs. It makes your toe kind of tap, and then you dive into the lyrics, and you're like, ooh, this is sad. This is a heavy topic. But I feel like that's how life is. Like life is sad. Life is dismal if you really look at it. But that's why we have Jesus and God. We have that hope. So I feel like God is the music, the sound of the album, but the world is the lyrics. But I feel like it's got a lot of layers, and I like the overall stories and the stories within. I actually gave it a 3.3 rating. I like it, but it's not like my favorite. It's not my go-to, but I do enjoy it. Yeah.
All right.
But I think it's just the lyrics that bring it down a little bit.
You dove deep into those, though.
I did.
Yeah. I love that.
That's probably what dove it down a little bit, is Jordan being like, I had to work really hard me without you, so I'm going to take a little bit of this back.
Yes. It's true.
Yeah, for me, I think this album, there's two things going on, is that, like I said, it's hard to, I'm a believer in you can't have a band just every album be like 5 stars. So then you start thinking like, well, compared to this, like if I'm going to give this one, then this one has to be this. And so this other Me Without You, like my least favorite one has to be a 3 out of 5 then, instead of, it was funny. I asked ChatGPT to give me their rankings of every Me Without You album. And, I think that all of them were, I think it was like 3.5 to 5 stars. And it was like, just because that one's bottom doesn't mean it's like the least one. And I like how ChatGPT was like, oh, I didn't know that you were such a fan of Me Without You. But I think it's just so cool what they did on this album. Like, I think that, like what they do on Brother Sister is amazing, just battling like this idea of like faith and like no faith and all this stuff, and just what they do on Pale Horses, Untitled, all those albums. But I just think it's incredible that like you're able to put all of these pieces together, and after was that 14 years of just listening to this album like a ton, I can still sit down and learn oh man, I never noticed that lyric. Or even
Yeah.
some of the stuff Jordan said where I'm like, oh, I didn't understand that. So for me, it falls with the 4.5 stars.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
So.
I love that. Well, it's been fun to dig into, for sure. And so I'm looking forward to checking out some of the other Me Without You records that I haven't spent time listening to.
There's a lot to dig
Because of
in.
that. There is. All right, let's talk about our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
I feel like Me Without You makes it easy because there's so much to choose from.
Or maybe hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one that just stands out to me as being one of my favorites is in Aubergine. It goes, you can be your body, but please don't mind if I don't fancy myself mine. You at 32, still tied to your poor mother's apron strings. I think that's a really cool lyric. I've heard people use it as a, I'm not that. I don't want to fall into that. And I've always taken it as more of the, as a Christian, where it's like, hey, your life can be yours, but don't mind if I don't see my life as belonging to me. So, so that's always stood out.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, thanks for joining us. You really brought some important research to the table in this episode. And so
I do love researching. So that's my history degree.
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for all that. I feel like this whole thing makes way more sense to me because of you. So I appreciate that. It's been fun having you, and obviously super fun having you guys jump on and listen. And so join in the discussion with us on this. And so when you see this get posted, don't be afraid to chat with us and talk to us about what you love about this record. But we're thankful that you're hanging out with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Hey, are you listening?